are live. Okay, so today our objective is we're going to be finding real and imaginary roots of polynomials. So we start using this word roots instead of zeros once we start talking about imaginary as well as real. Okay, they're the same thing. Zeros and roots are the same thing. Okay, they really are. But you're going to see both terms. You're going to see sometimes they'll say find the zeros. Sometimes you can see find the roots. But it's all finding the values of x when the equation is equal to 0. Okay, so imaginary numbers. So we are going to say that the square root of -1 is I. Okay. So then the square root of -4 is 2i. Does that make sense? Square root of 9, -9 would be 3i. Does that make sense?
Wait, why can't you just, so pretty much the imaginary numbers are only for the square root of negative numbers?
Yes, exactly. Okay, and even something which we're going to see here, if I had the square root of a -8, let's see if you remember this. Let's see if you remember this. That is the same thing as the square root of 4 times the square root of 2, -1. Okay, I want you to see if you remember this from geometry, right? 8 is 4 times 2, correct? And there's my -1. So 4 times 2 times -1 is -8. Thumbs up on that? Am I going too fast? Am I moving too fast?
No.
Okay. Everybody agree that 4 times 2 times -1 is 8. Square root of 4 is 2. Square root of 2i. Now, if I put a real number with it, it becomes a complex number. We call it complex. It's a little confused because a complex number is a real number plus an imaginary. And they come in pairs. Okay, they come in pairs. Because they have to come from a square root. Okay, they come in pairs. So they have to come in pairs because of square root. There's always a plus and a minus, right? So we're going to have as answers an a plus bi and an a minus bi. So they come in pairs. So it's really a real number plus measure. An example of that could be like we saw in our journal. When I did that humongous problem with you, we could have an answer of 3 plus 2i and 3 minus 2i, okay? This is an example. You have a real number, 3 is a real number, plus an imaginary. And they come in pairs, so I could have a 3, which is a real number, plus an imaginary, okay? So real number, imaginary, makes it a complex number is just the combination of real plus imaginary. That's all. They call it a complex number because you have both. A real number, which is real, and then an imaginary number, okay? So knowing that, our answers can have these values. So if we take a look at example 1, I want to solve. It won't factor. It won't factor. But I can solve this one, okay? So, all right. I can go plus 8, x squared equals 8. And because I'm going to take the square root, I know for sure I'm going to have 2 answers. I have to have 2 answers. So I square root. So I like to write the answers like this. X is equal to plus or minus the square root of 8. It's easier to write like that. There's my 2 answers. Just a shortcut way. They're both there. Positive square root of 8 and a negative square root of 8. So plus or minus means both. It's just an easy way to write it. Okay, everybody good on that? Now, I'm going to go ahead and break this down a little bit. You don't have to, but I would like you to try and do this. Plus or minus the square root of 4, square root of 2, because 4 times 2 is 8. And 4 is a perfect square. So I can take the square root of 4. X is equal to plus or minus 2 square root of 2. Okay? That's a real number. There's no i's. That is 2 real numbers. That's a positive 2 square root of 2 and a negative 2 square root of 2. So I do have 2 answers. How am I doing? Thumbs up?
Wait,
I'll wait for you. But you guys see I have 2 answers. I have to have 2 answers because it's x squared.
wouldn't that be 4 answers?
No. Great question.
I'm really confused.
Right?
So the answer is not x equals plus or minus the square root of 8?
No. It is 2 square root of 2 and negative 2 square root of 2. Hold that thought. Hold that thought. I want you to see this. Okay, hold on, Cassidy. Square root of 8. Okay, there's my answer. That's the square root of 8. There's 2 square root of 2. They're the same answer. Yes. That's all I did. I simplified it. I like things simplified. I don't know what college course you're going to have when you go to college, but most college professors want you to simplify, okay? All right, how about example 2? Everybody okay with example 1? So example 2. Let's solve minus 4 minus 4. I'm going to have an x squared equals negative 4, right? I need 2 answers. So I take the square root of both sides to cancel the square. I take a square root. I'll have x is equal to plus or minus the square root of negative 4. Now, I'm going to have an imaginary answer. I'm going to have an imaginary answer. So I will have, so this is the same thing as x is equal to plus or minus the square root of 4 times negative 1. Negative 4 is 4 times negative 1, right? Square root of 4 is 2. So x is going to equal plus or minus 2i. And I got the i from the square root of negative 1 is I. How am I doing?
A little bit slow down.
Okay, I will slow down. Thank you. Don't let me go too fast, please. So in this example, while you're catching up, when I took the square root, I wound up with a square root of a negative number, which you can't have. You can't have the square root of a negative number, but if we allow I as part of our answer, we can do it. So to make it easy, I broke negative 4 up into 4 times negative 1. So there's my I. Negative square root of negative 1 is I, and the square root of 4 is 2. And my I comes from the square root of negative 1. And I'll wait for you, okay? Okay, ready for example 3? Same thing. Example 3, let's go minus 4 minus 4. I'll have a parentheses x minus 2 quantity squared equals negative 4. Okay, minus 4 minus 4. Square root, square root. Okay, square root, okay. Right? I'm going to have, I took the square root to eliminate the square. So I'll have an x minus 2 equals, well, we already know this is plus or minus 2i. Right? I mean, I know that because right here I just did it, right? Right? Yes, 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 yes.
But how do we, would it just be positive and negative 2i plus 2? Or
That's
would
it. That is it. So plus 2 plus 2. I'm going to do it a little bit backwards, Giselle. Your answer is not wrong. If you want to be proper, the real always goes first. Plus 2 plus 2. So in fact, if I look at my notes, it always is in this form, A plus BI. I would never mark it wrong, Giselle, on any test if you had it like this. Same answer. This, however, is the way it should be written. Always the real number first, plus or minus the imaginary. Okay? Nice job, Giselle. You okay with that? And you can't add these two. One's a real number, one's an imaginary. You can't put them together. This is an imaginary number. That's a real number. Now, what we made was a complex number. So why am I calling it a complex number? Why am I calling this answer a complex number? Why is it a complex number?
It has a real number and imaginary.
Yes, it's a complex number because I have a real number and an imaginary. And Michael, you're right. We can't add them, can we? Can't add them. Okay, you guys ready to turn the page?
No.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Boy, we are doing good math now. We are no longer in Kansas, are we? We're in the land of Oz. Michael got the joke. I love it. I mean, we are in the land of imaginary, aren't we? That would be...
Why are we learning about imaginary numbers if they're imaginary?
Right. So again, two reasons. One, because mathematically we get an answer, which is a bad reason. But the second reason is there are applications. Black holes. There's applications of black holes too. Not that we're ever going to do any of that, but that'd be kind of cool. Okay, now, if it won't factor, okay, can't solve, won't factor. What do you do? Yes.
Plug and chug.
Plug and chug, yes. So quadratic formula is x equals plus, it's negative b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So we'll get two answers like Brian said.
I like this. This is easy.
So
This is what I understand.
all right, it is just plug and chug, really, right? In example 4, I know that A is 1, B is 2, and C is 5, right? A, B, C. Yeah, we just plug it in, right? We just plug and chug. Which doesn't make it difficult, it just means plug and chug, okay? So I'm going to go negative 2 plus or minus square root of 2 squared minus 4 times 1 times 5 all over 2 times 1. Okay, how am I doing? And we basically have already done this one in our warm-up, but we'll do it again, okay? I did the same problem in our warm-up, but that's not a bad thing because it's going to help us, right? Okay, plug and chug. Okay, I've plugged. Now let's chug. Negative 2 plus or minus square root of 4 minus 20 over 2, right? I'm still chugging. I'm chugging away. Negative 2 plus or minus the square root of negative 16 over 2, right? Now, up here, little side work, square root of negative 16, the same thing as the square root of 16, it's negative 1, right? Which side work? 4i, okay, 4i?
Yeah.
Okay, 4i? Does that make sense? Michael?
So an easy way to calculate if you have 3i or 4i or whatever is the square root of the positive and then add an i at the end, right?
Yeah, yeah.
No.
So, negative 2 plus or minus 4i over 2. Okay, guys, seriously? 1.
What is it mean?
Hey, put it for an extra 5 minutes.
Rita.
So we get into
So here's my two answers. There really are two answers there. You don't need to write them both out, but if you wanted two answers, you say x is equal to plus, and so there are two answers, but it's so much easier to write it like this, correct? That says both answers. All right,
Wait.
I will wait. I will wait. I will wait.
Slow down just a little bit more, Mr. Davy.
I will. I will slow down.
What's our next test?
I don't have to be at 10.
Next Friday.
Let's write it down.
That's okay. Oh, okay. That's okay.
Okay, you ready? So, example 5, guys, are we there? Don't write this down, just watch.
Okay,
Just watch. Okay, there's 3 answers, right? Right, 3 answers. So if I solve it, minus 8, right? And then I cube root it, right? Cube root it, because the cube root will eliminate the cube, right? Does that make sense? Yeah. And then the cube root of negative 8 is what times what makes negative 8? Close. 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 I need a negative 8.
Oh, negative.
Negative 2. So x equals negative 2 is an answer. But I need 2 answers, don't I? The other 2 are imaginary. How do I get those? Well, we're going to go back to factoring it like we did last week. We know one answer for sure is negative 2, right?
How about that?
So I just solved it. Right? Part of the 8, cube rooted, and then, you ready? What times what makes negative 8?
4, 2, good.
Right.
Negative 2.
Good. So we have one answer, but we have 2 more to find.
What if that's a really big number?
We can handle the big numbers. We're smart.
When we do that?
So let's factor this. So everything I taught you last week is coming back to haunt us this week, right? So technically I have a x cubed plus a 2 cubed, and I want to use that formula where a is x and b is 2, right? So I'm going to plug my x and 2 into my factor formula for perfect cubes. I'll have a x plus 2, a plus b times x squared minus 2x plus 4, okay? I've factored it. All right? Now, one of my mini equations is this. X plus 2 equals 0, or x equals negative 2. Right? Everybody agree with that? That's easy. We got that mini equation right there.
Go slower.
So I factored it. X cubed plus 2 cubed. I needed to use my perfect cube factoring, which is that formula, which we've done before. It's over there. I put it in, x plus 2, ax squared minus 2x plus 4. So I'm just using our factored formula, okay? One answer is easy. Mini equation, x plus 2, x equals negative 2, okay? So the first answer, easy. Second answer, there are 2 other answers, and they come from this. My other 2 answers, I get 2 answers here. This will not factor. No. So x squared minus 2x plus 4 will not factor. And if it won't factor and won't solve, what do we do?
Quadratic.
Right. So we need to use my negative b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. A is 1, b is negative 2, and c is 4, right? And I'm going to plug, then I'll chug. So we're going to plug and chug, right? Are you ready for me to plug?
Yeah.
Okay, plug. So to plug, I'll go negative 2 plus or minus square root of negative 2 squared minus 4 times a 1 times a 4 all over 2 times 1. So plugged. I've plugged, now I'm going to chug. But I'll wait for you, okay? I've plugged, now I'm going to chug. Okay? So then, I'm going to get a positive 4 plus or minus, and this is where kids make mistakes, but not you, not you. What is a negative 2 squared?
4.
Pos 4, yes, not negative 4. This is where kids get messed up, is right here. Pos 4. Everybody agree?
Yeah.
Minus 16 over 2.
The 4 before.
Okay,
4 before the 4.
that 4 there, it's in the equation. It's part of the equation. Yeah, this 4 is always there.
Right there, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. 2.
You did it wrong.
I did. I made a mistake. Thanks, guys. Yeah, sorry.
You should get candy out every time you mess up. It's almost extra.
I'd be out of candy within one day, wouldn't I?
You add an extra minute to brain break.
2 plus or minus the square root of a negative 12 over 2, right? You okay with the negative 12? Now, little side work. Here's my little side work. Watch my little side work. Square root of negative 12 is the same thing as the square root of 4, square root of 3, square root of negative 1, okay? You all right with that? Little side work. Here's my little side work. Square root of negative 12, 4 times 3 times negative 1. Thumbs up on my side work. I want to figure out what this is simplified, okay? Little side work. That is 2 square roots of 3i, right? You okay with 2 square roots of 3i?
Yeah.
So now I'm going to go back here and get my answer is going to be 2 plus or minus 2 square roots of 3i over 2.
Why don't, can't we make other numbers imaginary besides?
We are, right there. We are doing it right now. Which is 1 plus or minus 1 square root of 3i. There are my other 2 answers. Now, on homework, I want to do it with you. Some of it with you, okay? I'll wait. I'm just stopping the recording. Stop.